Gil Martin here. The Locked On Road to the NHL trade deadline continues. The Vegas Golden Knights make another move. They acquire goaltender Jonathan Quick from the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for goalie Michael Hutchinson and a 7th-round pick in 2025. Chris Gawlik of Locked On Golden Knights is here. And Chris, Jonathan Quick, great goalie over the course of his career, but what does he add to the mix now at this stage?
So why did they make the deal? And first of all, just saying we got Jonathan Quick from the Columbus Blue Jackets. I didn't have that on my bingo card, so let's start by saying that. What does he bring to the Golden Knights? So their situation is as follows. Logan Thompson got hurt right after the All-Star break. Supposedly he'll be back before the end of the regular season. This is going to cast a little bit of doubt on that, at least for me personally. So enter Aiden Hill, who's been very serviceable, but he's also closing in on the most number of starts he's ever had in his career in a single season. How is that going to bow down the stretch? We're going to find out, obviously. Laurent Brossoit, he suffered a hip injury that kept him out of activity until sometime into November. Started with the Henderson Silver Knights, did not start off very well, got sent down, or excuse me, was with the Golden Knights, got sent down on waivers. There we go. No one claims him, so he gets an extended stay now with the Henderson Silver Knights. Gets himself back into game shape. Has a couple really solid games, and now he's injured. Day to day, which is never day to day with the Vegas Golden Knights. That's week to week, month to month. So for a moment, our goaltenders were Aiden Hill and Hutchinson. And then all of a sudden, here comes the Quick situation. So long story longer, he brings 92 playoff games. He brings 2 Stanley Cups. He brings experience. Before the trade, there was a total of 4 playoff games started amongst the 4 goalies I mentioned earlier. Now we have 92 games started. That's going to help somewhere, somehow, whether this goes into the playoffs or simply a little bit of a buffer until the end of the regular season, and then we'll figure it out from there.
What, if anything, do you expect Vegas to do between now and 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow?
7 or 8 trades? 9? Who knows? I mean, there's still – so the deal was Hutchinson, a 7th, and retention of $2.9 million in cap space, which is basically how much cap space VGK has to work with. It's around $2 million plus or minus something. So Gary Lawless, he's part of the radio team with Dan Duva. He had a good quote last night. This is prior to this trade breaking, of course. And VGK are still buyers, right? But all the other teams, they've maxed out their credit cards at Macy's, the Patrick Kane situation, Timo Meyer, Tarasenko, et cetera, where Vegas has been kind of not necessarily hitting the bargain, but certainly making some notable deals and acquiring Barbashev and now Teddy Bluger, shoring up their defensive identity, which is the new path of the Vegas Golden Knights. So if a deal is going to happen, it has to make sense. And Gary Lawless basically said there's still some stuff left down the rack, but it has to make sense. Apparently, the Jonathan Quick deal made sense.
Apparently so. Any idea what else they may be looking to add if they find something of value in the bin?
I like that. Trevor Van Riemsdyk was one of the rumors for a while. Max Domi was very slightly mentioned, but I don't think anyone's going to be able to work that out right now. And Van Riemsdyk, I think, comes with a $5 or $6 million hit. You'll probably know better than I do on the East Coast. So it would have to be something else along the lines that bolsters the depth. Me and Tony have been talking about this last couple of days. Bruce Cassidy is starting to get his players for his system. You have to think that there was some interest from Cassidy directly in Barbashev because he watched Barbashev carry the Stanley Cup off the ice in Boston a few years ago. And then now you look at Teddy Bluger, another East Coast talent that Cassidy saw a lot more than obviously players on the West Coast. So, if there's something else that makes sense to even farther bolster the new possible defensive identity of the Vegas Golden Knights, then yeah. But I think they're probably done unless they do something even crazier with one of our, like a marquee defenseman, like an Alec Martinez or a Braden McNabb, and then they try to bring in a Max Domi or a Trevor Van Riemsdyk, which is not out of the realm with this team. Nothing is off the table. It's a circus. This is my tweet I just put out. The Vegas Golden Knights are a circus, but they're my kind of blankety blanking circus.
I love it. I love it. Be sure to check out Locked On VGK for more on the Vegas Golden Knights' latest deal and anything else that comes down the pike. And keep it dialed into Locked On NHL all along the road to the NHL trade deadline. This is the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.